Just keep listening. It works.
Welcome to Recovering Addicts. Recovering Addict. It's not plural.
No,
I'm the
just
recovering addict. Just me. No smacking.
Smack it.
I'll hang out and chit chat for a minute. Till people start signing on. 9 o'clock on the dot. We have no viewers yet.
I'll fix my hair while we're waiting.
Yeah, do that. Turn these into a podcast one day. One day soon. I don't even know where to podcast. I've seen podcasts, but you have to pay $29 a month or something for podcast. Hello, two of you that have
Spotify?
joined. If you could do me a
Hello.
favor and throw in the comments what our audio sounds like to make sure you guys can hear us okay. If it's too loud, too quiet. If it's too echoey, oh well. Our house is still in the middle of being remodeled, and that's just what it is.
It's getting close though. We're almost done.
Yep. So if you can hear that audio, let us know. If you can't, let me know if you can't hear that audio. Hi, Millie. Oh, good. It sounds good. Thanks, Hogman.
Really?
Phillip Ark. Thank you very much. All right. I'm going to get this podcast going. Podcast, Family Live, whatever you want to call it. So my name's LT and I'm a recovering addict, if you guys don't know.
My name's Felice and I am not commenting. My daughter has hijacked my phone.
Yeah, that's not Felice in the comments. That's our daughter. So just let you guys know that every Tuesday we're going to be going live at 9 o'clock Mountain Time. And this is a channel that's going to be dedicated to helping addicts. I'll have the advice and opinions on addicts, and then she'll have the advice and opinions on somebody that lived with an addict and had to deal with an addict. And she had to deal with me for 5 years of good, solid, active addiction. So just to give my little background to my story, I battled addiction 2 times in my life. So I've been an addict my whole life, but 2 times I've completely battled it. One time back in the early 2000s, I became a meth addict, and it ended up costing me a felony. I ended up getting locked up in the county jail for about a year. This is Millie. And so after that, I stayed clean for quite a while, but then I hit 33. Here, just go out of here, you guys, for a minute. Let us talk for a minute.
Love you.
We'll call you on when we got questions. So by the time I hit 33, so I stayed pretty clean up into my 30s and got into fitness. And then about 33 years old, I, what's up, Ray? Salt Lake City. Woo! Yeah, so I started drinking when I was 33, and then by the time I was 40, I was drinking close to a fifth a night. It progressively got worse. Started out moderately, and then by the time I hit 40, I was drinking good, almost a fifth a night, missing work, ruining relationships. Ended up having to put myself into a detox center. I ended up staying there for 3 days, 2 nights, and then I checked myself into an IOP program, an intense outpatient. And there I spent 5 months. I worked all the way up through step 5 before I transitioned about 3 weeks ago. So I've been in intensive outpatient treatment for about 5 months up until 3 weeks ago. And I've been out since. And we only have to go on Tuesday nights as aftercare. And that's what we do. That's what we just came from tonight before we did this. And that's one reason we're starting this, is we can have like an Al-Anon type feel to our live stream, so that we can have my view of the addict and then her view. I'll let her tell your side. Go ahead, you talk.
I'll tell my side. So I lived with an addict for a good 5 years. And in that time, not only did I learn a lot about, and now recently, last 6 months, about addiction, but also about how addiction affected me, and me not really realizing it until I felt myself getting sucked in to his addiction. So I went and actually had to start doing some biblical counseling with a friend of ours.
What's up, JL? I'm glad you're here.
Which was really helpful for me because it pulled me, I guess, out of his addiction. and I was able to work on my reactions to our situations instead of just reacting however I felt like I needed to react, which was usually the wrong way. So that helped out a lot for me. And then just the last 6 months learning everything he's been learning in recovery has been pretty awesome. Like there's a lot of tools
Sprite, not
that they use that are applicable to us who aren't in recovery, like character defects and all the things and all the tools you guys learn, the pause, think, and act,
Oh yeah,
all comes into play just in I think everybody's life.
everybody can benefit from the tools from recovery, huh?
Yeah.
So that's basically what we're here for, is to help people who are addicted to grow, recover, and people who have family members and that are worried about their family members in addiction to grow, and to help them get off it. But I want to throw out a disclaimer. We are not doctors. We are not psychiatrists, so whatever, psychiatrists or psychologists.
Psychiatrists. We're not those.
We only know what we know from experience, and me from meth, marijuana, alcohol, the party life, and addiction, gels, institutions. Maybe I've come close to death. I did blow 0.297 when I was taken to the hospital. So my blood alcohol level was way up there.
This is basically alcohol poisoning, I think, at that point.
Yeah. So I'm going to start off tonight with some questions. Kind of maybe we can get some conversation rolling to answer the question, has your life been affected by a drinker? And you can replace that word drinker with addict, just addiction, somebody addicted to drugs. So the first question is, got them written down right here. So if your life has been affected by a drinker, do you fit any of these? Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Yes.
Do you have money problems because of someone else's drinking? Do you tell lies to cover up for someone else's drinking? Do you feel that if the drinker cared about you, he or she would stop drinking to please you? That one's tough right there.
Yeah.
Because as an addict, I imagine, what does it feel like when you think somebody could stop for people they love?
That is a tough one because I never really thought you would stop to please me, I guess. I figured you would stop because you cared about sticking around for your family. That's kind of a weird way to put that question.
Alan,
I didn't want it
welcome, bud.
for
Glad
my
you're here.
benefit. It's
Another day of
weird way to put it.
sobriety. Yeah.
But it was more for like your health benefit and these guys, so you'd be there.
For those of you just signed on, we're trying to answer the question: Have you been affected by somebody else's addiction, drinking habit? She's a non-addict, has never had an addiction with drugs, alcohol, or anything. I'm the complete opposite. I have it a couple times. So I'm reading a few questions off to get this conversation rolling. And maybe if you answer these yes, it's possible your life has been affected by drinking, or maybe you're the one doing the affecting. And we're on number 5. Do you blame the drinker's behavior on his or her companions? Oh, it's because you hang out with so-and-so that you're drinking drunk if they weren't around.
Yeah. I never blamed it on your friends.
No, I was the instigator.
Yeah.
I was the party wanter. I was the one that always made it the worst. What would it have? I instigated all of it. I liked partying. And the more wild the party, the better. The more crazy and loud. The more drunk, the more insane I was. Yeah, much better. Put her through hell a few nights on that. Are plans frequently upset or canceled or meals delayed because of the drinker?
I'd say it was more I just went without him.
Unless it was a drinking party.
Yeah, unless it was a drinking party. I'd be like, bye. I guess we're going.
What number are we on here? Okay. Do you make threats such as, if you don't stop drinking, I'll leave you? So you ever been in that situation where you've told you're the sober one in the relationship and you've told the addict side of the relationship, I'm going to leave you if you don't stop drinking?
I don't think I ever said that. I think it was more if we fought, I'd be like, I'm done.
Yeah.
But it was never because of drinking.
Do you secretly try to smell the drinker's breath?
No. I could just tell.
Some people do.
But
because
yeah.
a lot of people were sneaker drinkers. I was never the type of drinker that would sneak. I would just openly drink. But there's a lot of people out there, and I know that we're in our treatment with, that they were closet drinkers and they tried to hide it. I remember trying to hide it though when I would go to in public or to places that drinking wasn't really allowed, and I would try to buy the vodka that was distilled like 7 times. I can't remember, was that 7 whip vodka or something?
Yeah.
Because vodka was supposedly the one you can't smell as bad, even though my main drink was black velvet whiskey. Man, I drank a lot of that stuff.
He single-handedly kept him in business, I think.
Oh yeah, I drank a ton of that stuff. Are you afraid to upset someone for fear it will set off a drinking bout? Have you ever thought about that? Basically, this one says, do you walk on eggshells so that they won't go and have a drink?
Right. I feel like we are somewhat of a unique situation because a lot of the stories we hear, they were closet drinkers and excuses, but you're a very open drinker.
Yeah, might as well. Have you ever been hurt or embarrassed by a drinker's behavior? Oh, geez.
Baby.
Let's see what Alan says. We'll stop here. We're on question number 10. Jump into these comments and see. What do you mean, Ray? You'd check her arms? Oh, shooting up. Okay, you're looking for tracks.
Yeah, no.
Do you have a daughter or is it your daughter that's maybe doing heroin? Maybe I'm taking that wrong. But yeah, track marks. It's a sure tell sign there. We have yeah. All right. Alan says, my girlfriend of almost 3 years has never seen what a monster I am while using. She basically told me if I pack my bags because of her seeing her brother in full addiction mode. Oh, your ex, Ray. Well, that's good. She never got to see that side of you, huh? So did you guys meet after you were in recovery, Alan? I take it, maybe. So she had her brother.
Yeah.
Oh, so she's been affected by it and she's scared of it now. Yeah.
Yeah. My whole side of the family basically is alcoholics. So that's what kind of kept me kind of more scared of it, I guess, seeing, because my uncle died of it, my grandma basically.
Drank till she died.
Other uncles, lots of cousins in prison. Yeah, scary stuff.
I come from a family of alcoholics. My grandpa and both my uncles, my dad, they were all alcoholics and drug addicts. Still one of them is. Still one of them is an active addiction. He's one of those functioning alcoholics. He's been at the same job for about 20 years now. 20 years, the same job, drinking the same routine day in, day out. He's a different type of alcoholic than I was. I was the alcoholic that would, if I bought a fifth, I drank a fifth. If I bought a half gallon, I drank the whole half. I wouldn't stop until I woke up the next day and didn't know what happened. All right, question 10. Oh, question 11. Are holidays and gatherings spoiled? Have you ever had your holidays or gatherings spoiled because of drinking? Hey, Ray, did your ex, did you guys happen to break up due to the addiction? Did you guys have any holidays ruined, or did you guys just break? Is your ex in recovery, maybe? Hopefully. Sad situations. I don't know if we ever had any holidays ruined. I just never wanted to go. What?
You went to that one Christmas party and said bye to Gramps. Fell down the stairs.
Yeah, that's your favorite story, isn't it?
That's Link talking, by the way.
Yeah.
There was a few holidays where we had to carry you in.
So the story Linky's talking about, I don't know if I ruined it. I wasn't the only drunk one. But I remember starting off the night with, I don't know, a triple shot of whiskey. And the last thing I remember is playing ping pong. And the next morning I wake up and I can't get out of bed because my knee won't move. My leg won't move. My knee won't bend. And I was like, oh, are we late for work? Still wasted. Anyway, so what I did is I guess this is the drunkest my wife said she's ever seen me. You just had to breathe on me and I'd fall down. I fell down the stairs. I fell in the bathroom. I broke the toilet. I fell in the bathroom and broke the sink. My 2 oldest boys, this is my youngest son, Link. My 2 oldest boys and my wife had to literally carry me to the van. And then when we got home, they had to carry me to bed. This is what they told me. I don't even know if they could have been making it up.
Yeah. It's
Huh?
it's all truth.
It's all truth.
Luckily, the boys are big enough that they can help. There's no way I could do it by myself.
So let's jump back to Ray real quick. Hey, welcome, Youngs. We'll get to yours in just 2 seconds. So Alan says, we reconnected when I had 2 years of sobriety. We graduated high school together in 1986. We were friends in high school. We reconnected through Facebook. Awesome. Was she ever in active addiction, or were you the addict of the family of that relationship? Because that's me. I wanted to drink and smoke as long as I could remember. Probably I remember being sick. My mom told me actually when I was like 4 or 5, I looked at her and said, Mom, when I grow up, I'm going to smoke cigarettes and drink beer. And I meant it. That's what I did. So Ray says, I would consider myself both addict and Al-Anon. Yes. Everything was, oh man. Addiction will tear people apart. I'm pretty sure that if she wasn't as strong-willed as she was, we wouldn't be together right now. I was a pretty distant, dysfunctional drunk. I would just hide out, and I wasn't hiding it, but I wouldn't come around unless it was a family barbecue where everybody was drinking. Losing the comments there.
Jack, I tell me about this one time you snuck.
Oh, you never used with her, Ray?
Jack, I tell me about this one time.
So hold on. Let's answer the Young's question. What?
So I was going to tell him about this one time that you snuck alcohol into a baseball game.
Oh yeah, I would regularly sneak my alcohol into baseball games.
Put him in an apple juice container.
I would put them in those freezing, make it look like apple juice. So that's what I thought people thought, but obviously I was drunk. So the Youngs say, hey brother, what was the final straw that led you to check into rehab in August? It was a accumulation of things over a 2-year period, I'm pretty sure. So after the accident with Link, so if you guys didn't know, I have a video on there, and you'll see the video, and it's got the helicopter, the life flight. Back in 2017, he got his head crushed it from here to here. Anyway, he almost died. They want us to pull the plug. After that, I had a drinking problem before, but I wasn't drinking a ton until after that. I was drinking a pint a night, but it really wasn't affecting my work. I was still doing really well at work. But after that, I started drinking heavy enough to where guilt and shame was a morning ritual. Driving to work, talking to myself how stupid I am, driving to work drunk pretty much. And
Wyatt.
what?
I said, hi, Wyatt.
Where's Wyatt?
Hogman.
Oh, Hogman, Wyatt. All right, Wyatt. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for tuning in. So after I started feeling guilt and shame, I would always had that in the back of my head, guilt and shame. But by the time 3 o'clock rolled around, the hangover was gone, and addiction set in. And then all of a sudden, that whole occurrence of praying and asking forgiveness and driving to work with guilt and shame was a distant memory, because now it was like, nighttime's coming. What am I going to do if I don't have a drink? So 2 years of that, just every day. And plus my drinking was going up to almost a fifth a night. It was definitely a fifth a night on the weekends and a pint during the week. It's missing work. After many seeds that she had planted and my other friends, you, Mark, one of them, coming over and telling me to that I had a problem, that I need to quit drinking. Then I went to the doctor. He took and drew my blood and started going down the list. This is low. This is low. Yeah, this is normal for your age. This is low, and got to my enzymes. And he said, look me straight in the face. And he's all, how much do you drink? And of course I lie and I tell him about half of what I really drink. And he saw right through it and started lecturing me. You want to live past 50? You want to see your kids grow up? All this and that, and made it just very obvious how much I was drinking, because he saw it through a blood analysis of how much I was drinking and what it was doing to me. He said if I didn't quit right then, that I wouldn't have lived past 50. And his brother was in liver failure because of drinking. And so he was pretty passionate about what he told me. And it wasn't long after that I sat in the motorhome, because our house was being remodeled. The house was falling apart. Everything was falling apart. You know what? We admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives become unmanageable, step 1 says. The unmanageability of it was rapidly catching up to me. The house falling apart, overdrawing our credit because we were buying stuff we don't need, like a motorhome. Work, I was missing Mondays and Fridays and you know, I was ruining my reputation there, not being organized, coming in drunk. So that one weekend, I probably drank 3 to 4 gallons from Friday to Monday morning, because I started drinking that Monday morning as soon as I woke up, and I decided to call my dad and say, if you don't take me to the hospital right now, I'm not going to quit drinking. I have to, you got to take me. So they took me to the hospital. I walk in, they do a little analysis on me. She says, you're too drunk, go sleep it off. So my dad took me to a hotel rather than bringing me home. And after I slept for a couple hours, he took me back, and then they admitted me into the hospital, took my phone, took everything, put an IV in me, came and checked on me, make sure I wasn't hallucinating. I did start hallucinating a little bit once the alcohol left my system. I think the second day I was there, they kept asking me, hallucinating? They'd have me hold out my hand, see if it was shaking. And I kept hearing a talk show, a radio talk show in the background. She's like, you hear a talk show? I was like, yeah, is there a radio playing? She's like, nope. I was like, oh, okay. Where are we at here? Never used with her. Nope. We would have killed each other. Oh, yeah. Never would. We would have killed each other if we used together. Would you guys have killed each other because you would have become who's got the dope? Give me the dope. I remember me and my buddies when we were tweaking. We would, all right, let's up. We're going to go get this huge amount, and we're going to do this much, and we're going to sell the rest. We're going to double our money and buy some more. 2 days into it, we're fighting over the last crumb, who stole what, literally just about come to blows with each other. That's what would happen when me and my buddies used meth together. So Wyatt said, oh, yeah, that's the same question. So she's definitely on the other side of the fence, a social drinker. Oh, moderate drinker, yeah. A normie, I think, as we call them in AA. She could be a normie, but I think she's afraid. Are you afraid of being an alcoholic like your grandma? You told me that before.
I think it was, but now it's just no interest. I think you've drank enough for both of us.
Yeah.
Drinking out for the whole family.
I think last time I had a drink was at Steve's thing, and even then it was just no buzz. Just
Oh, you had a couple little shots, huh?
yeah,
I got wasted.
yeah. But I think I at that time I was more afraid that if something ever happened, one of us would have to take care of an emergency, and a lot of time you weren't capable. So I always made sure I was sober.
I think Felice has drank with us twice. Drank with me twice. She's had a shot here and there. I think I've seen her drunk one time, and that's on one of our honeymoons. We went to a hotel and we had a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
And that's the only time she ever drank. Other than that, she doesn't drink. Never has. Different drug, huh, Ray? Okay, let's check in on one of our questions. Which one were we on?
I think we're on like 12.
Holiday gatherings. Oh, yeah. Have you ever considered calling the police for help in fear of abuse? If you have done that as a person's drunk, then you have probably been affected by a drinker. We've probably come close a couple times.
Yeah.
Throwing crap, yelling as loud as we could. I'm surprised the neighbors didn't call the cops on us a couple times. Opening the front door and screaming and yelling.
I remember we got the cops calling on us for a few times on a fire.
Yeah, those are different reasons, though. Did you search for hidden alcohol?
No, because I always knew where you put it.
But some people do, man.
Yeah.
Drunks will stash alcohol in the garage, in the basement, upstairs, downstairs, if they're the closet kind.
My grandma used to put it behind the teddy bears in the secret, or not the secret room, the spare room when I was a kid. And I'd be playing with my teddy bears, and she'd be like, "Don't you tell your grandpa." Okay.
And then you used to hide under the seat in the truck.
I had put bottles in the seat in the truck. I had my few spots that I kept them, usually somewhere near my computer, so I could just stand up, take a shot, and put it back. She went to prison. Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, maybe hopefully she gets clean in there.
Yeah. Never know whose bottom, where somebody's bottom is. Do you ever ride in a car with a driver who has been drinking? Do you ever ride in a car? Oh, yeah. I guess
Yeah,
if you ride with
we've
somebody
done that.
that's drunk, then yeah, you're definitely being affected by a drink. So if you're just joining us tonight, I'm LT. I'm an alcoholic addict.
Police, alcoholic addict's wife.
The wife of an addict.
Alcoholic addict son.
We're going through a little questionnaire. Has your life been affected by someone else's drinking?
Did you dump any out? No, he's a grown man. I let him do what he wanted to do. Never worried about dumping it out. Wouldn't stop him. You just go buy a new one.
Yeah, she wasn't a control freak. She let me do what I wanted.
Yeah, that's why I tell him all the time. Like, I'm not your mom. You're a grown man. Make your own decisions, but you'd have to deal with the consequences of those decisions. So it would have made no difference had I dumped it or not.
I would have went and got more. Even if I was
Yeah.
drunk, I would have drove and got more.
Yeah.
Or I'd have called my friend.
Or if he ran out, yeah, you'd go up the street.
I got a friend up the street in his 70s. Cool dude. I haven't been
He
up there
is-
for
he is a cool dude.
6 months. But as soon as I walk into his house, he slides me a whiskey glass, a half gallon of Southern Comfort, and I'd sit there and drink and listen to all his stories. Oh, dang, now I'm triggered.
Oh no!
I'm going to Randy's.
Better call your sponsor.
Randy has a great.
Better call my sponsor.
Randy
after
has some
this.
great stories.
Yeah, he
Go
was
up there,
awesome.
drink
Dude.
Mountain Dew.
Let us know in the comments. Have you guys ever ridden with the drunk driver? If you are the sober one in the relationship, if you're the drinker, how many DUIs should you have had? I probably should have had a ton of DUIs.
At least every time we went razor riding.
Oh yeah, if we were razor riding, I was definitely drunk. I raced it too. I would drive. Well, yeah. I would drink. I got to the point where I would drink a pint of whiskey and I would feel not drunk. And I was drunk. It just wasn't drunk enough. And I'd be like, oh, I'm good. I'm good. And I'd drive to the liquor store and I would go buy me another pint or just say, screw it, what's tomorrow? And buy me the big bottle and try it. Oh, it's cheaper. And guess what happened to the big bottle? I drank the whole thing. Then wake up and do it again. It's insanity. That's why step 2. So step 1, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol or addiction, that our lives had become unmanageable. And then step 2, came to believe in a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Restore us to sanity. What does that mean? It means the lifestyle we were living was insane. The people we hurt, we didn't want to, but it's just a part of your mind that doesn't work right. Is alcohol and addiction a disease? That depends on your definition. It can be a disease of choice, kind of like diabetes. You get some people don't have diabetes, but they eat and drink themselves sugar-free, tons of sugar until they get it.
I've
Had 5 DUIs and two completely dismissed. Wow. 5 DUIs, man. That's
I think
big
little did the
trouble.
viewers know, but they're actually talking to a diabetic right now.
Yeah. Link has he had diabetes from his accident.
Got to my pituitary gland. Now I got diabetes insipidus.
Yeah, he can't flush sodium. 5 DUIs, man. I got lucky. I never got a DUI. I got a felony for burglary, ended up in jail for a year. That's how I met Mark. Met him. We were cellies.
Oh, hi, Mark.
And the reason we were both in jail is because our best thinking got us there. Addictions. When addiction's running wild, like I said, it's a disease that, and I don't consider it a disease like, cancer is a disease. It's drinking rewires, or addiction rewires the brain. The chemicals that it floods as soon as you use it, and then the continual process of survival is the character defects that are built through using drugs. The lying is a defense mechanism. It's a survival mechanism. You're just trying to get to your next fix. And it becomes this whole insane lifestyle that it takes a higher power greater than yourself to restore you to that sanity. That's why you get 5 DUIs. Who in their right mind would go driving around drunk with the strict laws, the possibility of killing people, or, but when you're drunk, and I've done it many times, I'm good.
Yeah.
I feel fine. And I normally could drive pretty well.
The Youngs asked, have you had to cut ties with some close friends, family for your sobriety?
Yeah, I don't. So I have a scale of 1 to 10 at this point in my life. 10 through 6? No, 10 through 7. 7 through 10 is you have no reason to be there. Do not go there. If it's a drinking party, if it's a bar, if it's a dope house, if it's people that do drug, you have no reason to be there if you're trying to be sober. And then my other in between that, 7 through 4 is if you have to be around it, you better have a very good reason and you better have a plan. And then 4 through 1 is pull up your pants. You got to, pull up your panties, like I said in my other video. You got to be there. Just like if you're walking past the beer in the grocery store aisle or the gas station, you have, and our counselor said that tonight, you got to desensitize yourself to some point because you're going to be around it. So that's my scale of 1 to 10. If you got to be there, or is it a place you shouldn't be? You have no reason being there. You have no reason to walk into a bar. In the middle, you better have a plan and a really good reason. And the other one is it's going to happen. So you got to have tools. You got to be spiritually fit. So close friends. Did I get rid of any close friends? No, because the last 2 years I just drank by myself basically, unless we went to her house. I had a couple friends that would come over and drink with me, but they liked getting at our age. Everybody just likes to be at their own house.
Yeah.
They used to come
Not much hanging out. I go to work. I take care of other things, so there's not really much time for friends.
Nate used to come over all the time.
Nate used to come by on the weekends, yeah. And that put him in situations too. Dang, jail for 30 years. I was in jail back in the early 2000s. I went through the Weber County system, and then I went through a Northern Utah Community Correctional Center for 4 months. And then I was on probation for two years. I was supposed to be on it for 3. But then guess what I did the day I got off probation? I smoked weed. And then I smoked weed every day until I got a different, because I was doing stucco, and I smoked weed every day until I got another job that required drug tests. Then I quit. And then that time I was 28. Is that when I started working at Swanson's? Was I 28?
Yeah, probably close to.
Yeah, because that's right when I quit smoking. Cigarettes too.
You're 21 when I was born.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was just a baby.
So from 28 to 33 was my longest period of sobriety since I was 16. So I was sober for 16 years, from 1 to 16.
It's funny.
Those were in the 80s. Oh, 80s, not as strict back in the day. Jail for 30 years, stay sober, and they will leave you. That's true. That's a really good point. You find out who your real friends are. If you're surrounded by a bunch of people who like to party all the time, and you stop drinking or stop using drugs, then yeah, they're not going to come around. I know that when I drank, like I said, I talked about earlier about the barbecues. Her family has 2 different sides to her family. One side, they get it on. They tie it on and like to drink. The other side, a little bit, but mostly sober parties. And the sober ones, I'd be like, oh, great. I don't feel like going. But the drunk parties, I was in the car like, come on, we got to go. Other than that, I hate going anywhere. When I was drinking, I hated going anywhere. I'd just stay home. I'd rather just come home, get off work, drive as fast as I could to the liquor store. Anything that hindered that, a red light, a stupid driver, going somewhere else would piss me off. And so I would grab my bottle, I'd go downstairs and drink the night away.
Start editing videos.
Your turn to talk. Oh, you want to read some questions?
Which one are we on?
I would say I always made a deal with this guy. Every time he
Since
comes-
she was 11. Man, those first years of sobriety are the best, huh? 1 through whatever.
I made a deal with this guy.
It's a span.
Every time he goes to the liquor store, he has to buy me a treat. Remember that?
No.
Probably because you were drunk.
Maybe. Hey, congratulations,
I
Ray Ray,
love
on
it.
that sobriety date. That's good stuff. Are you doing
Yeah, that's
anything
amazing.
do you still do meetings or anything? I notice you're on a recovery channel, so you must stay plugged in somehow. Do you do any AA, NA, stuff like that? Oh, I just became the GSR of our, so I have a home group on Friday that I go to out in South Ogden, and they just voted me in as the GSR. So what I'm trying to do is stay active in recovery through researching, uploading these videos, coming on here on Tuesday nights, and then going to AA and a Sunday meeting as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. So 15, have you refused social invitations out of fear or anxiety?
Me or you? That's you.
Me. No.
I have if they didn't drink because I wanted to get drunk and then I'd get anxiety because I couldn't drink.
Yeah. That's for you then. But
Yeah.
no, not because of you being drunk there. I never had fear or anxiety.
Oh, hey, if you guys notice that number right there at the bottom of the screen, that's a number you can text me at anytime you want, any time of the day. You can stay connected. Also, I'm going to let her keep talking. I'm going to throw up in the I'm not going to throw up. I'm not going to throw. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link in the comments to a Facebook private group page for recovering addicts. Click on that and you can join. And that's another way you can stay connected to me throughout the week, throughout the day. You got questions for her, me, or the kids. I'll throw that in the while she's talking.
Hey, tell Penny what GSR stands for.
It's a site rep. It's the G. What does the G stand for?
General?
General site rep or something like that. I'm basically the representative of that group. I'm like the leader of it now. So I'll be in Brigham on Thursday nights, the second Thursday of the month at that Al-Anon right there, and we'll have a district meeting. And I'm the voice in between district and home groups.
So number 16 was, do you feel like a failure because you can't control the drinking? I don't know if I ever felt like a failure. Disappointed, I guess. Not really a failure because I knew it wasn't something I could control, I suppose. That's probably how I'd answer that one. Do you think that if the drinker stopped drinking, your other problems would be solved?
I think to a point you did.
Yeah, to a point. Yeah, because I think it seemed like, anyways, a lot of the disagreements or whatever was because you were drinking, was a lot of the arguments. Now that he's sober, we don't argue as much. Both working on our character defects and how we react to one another. Because I know, like I said before, I reacted wrong a lot of times. That's why I started going to that biblical counseling. And I read a book. If anybody needs a good book, it's called The Excellent Wife by Martha Peace. It basically talks about how to work on being the best wife you can be to your husband, even sometimes because we all sin, but even how to approach your husband if you catch him in a sin or if he's doing something that you think isn't right, and how to talk to them about it instead of nagging. You tell them once and you leave it at that because you've said what you needed to say. And that's what I started doing. As I'd notice something, I'd tell him how I felt about it and I'd leave it alone unless he brought it up or something changed and it needed to be addressed again. Was how I started addressing our issues and things. But yeah, I feel like now that you don't drink, a lot of those problems have gone away. But I think just because we react different to situations.
Yeah, we definitely react.
we
She's
don't-
not nervous around me, what kind of person I'm going to be, if I'm going to be the super happy, goofy, or go out and do something stupid person.
Yeah. I know who's coming home at night. I suppose it's the same person now.
It's more consistency. If I'm going to be in an ornery mood because I'm hungover, and because when you drink that much, you don't eat, and your nutritions are way down, and your mind's not working properly, and none of that stuff. What are you doing, bud? Sandy? Just staring at yourself?
Do you ever threaten to hurt yourself to scare the drinker? That I did not ever do.
That's a funny one.
If you do it, I would suggest not to.
Yeah, that's not a good way to. That's controlling.
Yeah, that's not a good way to approach anything.
No, that's controlling. So there's character defects on both people in a situation. Even though she didn't have a drinking problem and I did, she didn't handle situations because there's character defects. A character defect is called a defect because a defect is a defect, like a dent in your car. And if you have a character defect, something in your character is defective, and that has to be changed. And to change that, you have to change your thinking. and to change your thinking, you have to literally think and force yourself to change it. But first, you must recognize it. So
Mhm.
once it gets pointed out, there goes your pride. You don't even want to believe it. Your pride can be a character defect, so you have to take that wall down. A lot of relationships, the person that's not the addict tries to control that other person, and that's controlling something you are completely powerless over. You have no control over anybody. You can't make people to do what you want them to do. You can't even make people feel. I don't cause hurt. You made me feel that way. I may have influenced it, but I did not make that feeling happen. A choice and a thought that you feed on makes you feel what you feel. And recognizing that is when you start letting things go. Sweet.
Right on, Ray Ray.
Looking for your Ray.
Does anybody have any questions?
Questions
Anything
for
they're curious about?
questions for the son? Questions
You can
for the
ask
wife?
Linky a question if
Questions
you
for the
want.
addict?
You guys got any questions for Felice? Since this is kind of on this is kind of the Al-Anon side. So if you guys know anybody who could, because I know it's hard to talk about this addiction thing or being the person of who do you go talk to? I think my husband's an alcoholic, or I don't think my wife's an alcoholic and has a problem, but you don't really dare to go reach out to your community because maybe you don't want to reveal that side of your. This is a place. If you're at your phone and you're live streaming with us, ask us a question, and maybe we can relate somehow and help.
Yeah.
So if you know somebody, share this with them. I'm going to store these live feeds in my playlist. I'm not going to make them active, so you'd have to come to my page and click on it. But they'll be stored down there if you want to share it to them, or let them know that on Tuesday nights at 9 o'clock Utah time, I think it's Mountain time, 9 o'clock p.m., we'll be on here really willing and ready.
No, Tim, we are not having any more beautiful children. This is the worst. People say pregnancy is great. It was terrible. It was like 9 months of nonstop throwing up. They're beautiful when they're out, but like, no. Mom's done unless we adopt one. Millie wants us to buy her a baby, but
Oh,
That's not possible
She's got
anymore.
a dog.
Thank you. Tried to get the microphone all set up perfect so we have great audio. I know audio is more important than visual. I can only play this in 720 as well. All right, next question.
Next, do you feel angry, confused, or depressed most of the time? I did for a long time feel angry, confused, and depressed for a lot of time. And that's when I realized that I myself needed help. So that's when I reached out to friends and family, mostly friends, to get counseling for me.
I felt confused because why do you gotta have this substance?
Why drink, huh?
Yeah.
Doesn't even make sense.
So I do suggest, if you do feel these ways, go get some counseling of some sort. I did biblical counseling, and it was very helpful. It was me and 2 other women, one going through something very similar, so we could really relate, but kept each other grounded and going in the right direction with our own attitudes, not our I guess addicts' attitudes, but we had to work on ourselves first.
Yeah.
And then it really it did alleviate a lot of anger and confusion just to talk about it, because the addict, they have to talk about their emotions, but us as the non-addict, we also have emotions that we need to get out and talk about, and it was a good place for me to do that, and it did help a lot.
Yeah, you and another wife, right?
Yeah. So
Got
that was
another
probably-
wife. What I mean by that is another wife who was a wife of an addict who was not an addict.
Yeah. Yep.
She was very controlling, from what I remember. The kind of controlling where it makes it worse.
Yeah. That was another thing that I noticed didn't help, was trying to control, because I know personally that I can't control anybody's behavior.
She grew up in an alcoholic home, and as a child, always sad and depressed. It was funny. I was because I got this off of an Al-Anon website, and there's 3 places or 3 different choices of questioning, and one is if you grew up in an alcoholic's home, and that was one of the questions. Were you sad and depressed, and then how did it affect you afterwards? Was it a church?
It was a lady from the church we were going to. She needed some women to counsel. She was looking for other women to counsel, and she's been a really good friend for years. And I was like, counsel me because I need it. It was but you're in Salt Lake. If you do go to church, I do suggest Gospel Grace Church because that is now where she goes. It's, you're probably so close to it. And that's a fabulous church.
The pastor there is amazing.
Phenomenal. Megan,
Started
our
using
dog
very
wants to
young.
join the live chat over here. Megan, come over here. Good job.
That was something I was worried
Come on,
about. I
Megan.
didn't want these guys to
Say hi.
grow up sad and start using young because it's something that they saw.
Hello.
So
Here's Megan. She's the dog of an addict.
she's so sweet. Oh, she's so sweet.
The dog of a
It's gross.
Get out of here.
The dog.
Hi, Don.
Hi, Don.
Don.
Oh, bummer.
Illness is no good. They do a
Yeah.
live stream.
Oh, yeah, they do live stream. You live stream with your counselor. Next question.
Next question. Do you feel there is no one who understands your problems?
Mm. You know, that's kind of funny because I think so. And I think a lot of addicts believe that too. Nobody knows what I'm going through. I'm going to use because of my problems, and my problems are great or so great. Now that I've been through counseling and treatment, and I've seen about 1 million people come and go over the last 5 months, everybody that's new there starts out their story. This is probably crazier than you're used to. Tells the story, and it's almost the exact same story.
Yeah.
And my one favorite thing is when you go to AA and they do the birthdays, and you get the old timer that's giving the coin to the young timer that's got, 6 months to a year under his belt. And the old timer's been sober for 50 years. Says, I love coming to these meetings because 50 years ago, it was the exact same thing. Nothing's changed.
Yeah. I think too, as the wife of an addict, I suppose, we do put up walls because I didn't want to tell people because I didn't want to embarrass him or people to look at him different than what they already see, like in a negative manner, I suppose, because I knew it was just something we were going through and I didn't want them to paint that as who you are. So it was hard to talk about it honestly until I found people I could really trust who I knew weren't going to go gossip it all over town, but were there genuinely to help. So I think once we break down that barrier, we don't feel so alone, like nobody understands. You just have to be able to talk about it with the right intention, I suppose.
It is a common feeling, though.
Yeah.
But it's funny because we have more in common with a lot of people than you
Yeah.
realize.
And once you open up, then you really start to see that a lot of us are dealing with a lot of different problems.
I bet there's more addicts than non-addicts.
Yeah.
And even a non-addict can benefit from the 12 steps in recovery and treatment, and just realizing your mindset and what you think.
Yeah, we all turn to something. Like in the accident, he turned to alcohol. I turned to McDonald's. We all have some weakness or some way to cope, or donuts, sugar. That was the last question.
That was it?
Unless there's one more on the back.
No, I think the last thing it said is if you've answered yes to a lot of these questions, maybe you need to look for an Al-Anon near you. Pretending everything is okay. Yeah, a lot of people do that. I was pretending everything was okay. But at the same time, the job that I have, walking in hungover and stinking like alcohol was an okay thing to do. Thanks, Don. We are awesome together because we recover together. And we recover better
We
together.
recover better together. We're sober, James.
Where's Sober James? Where are you? Sober James is another YouTube channel that I've collaborated with. If you go into one of my videos or go into my playlist, you'll see a collaboration we did. And at the end of that video, you'll notice a little back and forth, his ending, his sign-off line and my sign-off line. It's kind of funny.
It's pretty funny.
How hard is it to pretend everything is okay when everything's not okay, when somebody is depressed and anxious and doesn't want to go home because their other half is an addict? I wonder about that. Wonder about that. You guys got any questions? Anything you want to spiritual guidance? Because I struggle in that area. I would say for you, this would be my advice, bouncing off of her advice, is to Google Gospel Grace. It's right across the street from Liberty Park, downtown Salt Lake. Open their thing. The Pastor Lucas, if you look up Lucas Counterman in that feed, I think he's currently going through addiction. If you go in there, go to his sermons, you'll see that every other one or so is him talking on addiction. And then go back through and listen to one of his sermon series on a book of the Bible. That would be the best spiritual guidance I could give you. That'll walk you through some truths that'll probably open your eyes to some awesome things. I'd start off with his addiction series that he did in the Bible study. It's all, you can just stream it and just hang out at home and listen to it. And then go from there. And then let us know what you think about it.
Yeah.
Because I've been listening to his addiction thing, and I think it's pretty spot on.
He's a wonderful teacher. How long are you going to be home ridden with this illness? Is it like a permanent thing? Maybe.
I got an idea.
What?
Every time you guys pass the liquor store, pretend like it's closed so you can't go there and get some liquor.
Oh, it's closed. You know what a guy told me?
What did I told you?
Craig, actually, from Gospel Grace. He told me that tell yourself you can drink today, or you can drink tomorrow, but you can't drink today. And that's because tomorrow is always tomorrow, and today is always today.
Whoa.
I can't drink today, but I can tomorrow.
Just like yesterday was the last today.
Yep. Will do. Thank you. But my struggle is about God and my sexuality. Well, we're all sinners there, Ray. It doesn't matter about your sexuality. It doesn't, everybody's got sin. It doesn't matter if you're gay, bisexual, if you're a compulsive gambler, if you're a thief, if you're a murderer, or if you tell lies.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a sin. It does. If that's something that bothers you, just approach God and talk to him about it. Don't go feeling judged. God's a God of love.
Yeah. I don't know if you do read the Bible, but I would suggest starting in the Gospel of John, or I love Matthew.
Agoraphobia. What is that? Scared.
Agoraphobia.
Oh, agoraphobia. I can't read. And if you notice, when I put my text up, I put you, not yours. Thanks, Uncle T. Agoraphobia? What does that mean? Hey, Alexa, what does agoraphobia mean?
Agoraphobia is usually defined as a morbid fear of open spaces,
Oh.
fear of being caught alone in some public place.
Oh, interesting. A fear of big open places. Is it like the Grand Canyon, maybe? Or what do you mean?
A fear of big open places, Dad. With our living room.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be scary.
It's like, I don't know. I'm not sure I understand that meaning. Oh, going
That
outside.
makes more sense.
Is it in
Stupid
public
lights
or is it just outside? Is it like people? You hate being around people? Because I know as soon as I get to work, I got that. I got that phobia.
I think that's the same phobia.
I walk in and look at everybody and I hate them all. I had to work on that today. My character defect. Okay, so you guys want to hear something? Woke up this morning, super character defects, ornery, and it was about work. And I went there. I tried to have a good attitude. I did the serenity prayer on the way to work. Oh, wow. 3 months for a doctor's appointment. Anyway, it was a tough one today. I was being, all of them, I was being angry. I told a guy to shut the F up. It was being loud. I had, what is that when you're, that character defect? You're like, oh, look at me.
Pride?
Yeah, no, not
No.
pride. I can't-
Narcissism.
No, I need to look it up.
False pride. Self-righteousness.
It's where I think,
Selfishness.
self-importance.
Self-importance. We'll name them all. It's one of
Yeah,
them.
I had lots of self-importance. I had resentment. I was just, man, I was in a bad mood. I hate having to do when they tell me to do stuff that's a
Ego?
complete waste of time. Yes, ego. My ego is huge. I think I'm better than that. That's a good dude to listen to, Uncle T. I believe you. Robbie Zacharias, he's a good, very smart guy. Where's the Youngs? The Youngs still hanging out? Y'all still hanging out in there somewhere in YouTube land?
YouTube. Land.
In the interwebs, as they say.
Time is it? 9:55. All right, we got about 5 more minutes of this, and we got to get up at 3:45 a.m. to go back to that place. I hate.
3:45.
No, I don't hate it. I'm very grateful for my job.
3.
Good place to work on your character
40.
defects.
Yes, it's a training camp.
Hello, Penny.
Woohoo!
Any more questions?
So yeah, work is definitely a training boot camp for character defects.
Enter here.
You walk in the door with your patience. First thing, I'm here with patience. Then they ask me a
It's your
question.
entourage.
Well, then I go to sign onto my computer and it doesn't work. And there goes my patience. Oh, yeah. Hey, God bless you too, Ray. Hey, that's my sister's middle name is Ray also too. So that's pretty cool. And remember, every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Utah time, let people know that you think could hear this. People who aren't addicts, who live with addicts and maybe need to hear this and ask any questions or anything. We'll shut this down in about 4 more minutes. And remember that phone number right there on the screen. Let's see if anybody. I gotta get this thing. Yeah, so hit me up on that phone number if you want to text me. If not, join that Facebook group.
What was the one I read you today? Hold on, I'll read it to you because it's funny.
Link, sign off a joke. Yeah,
A joke. All right.
they want a joke, Linky.
Here, give them this one.
If human
That's the best one.
populations.
Wait, now do it.
All right. If the human populations held hands around the equator, a significant portion of them would drown.
Gospel grace.
Gospel. Great. Here, I'll throw. Hey, Ray,
so
I'm
funny
going to
'cause
throw a
look at all
link
the
really
pictures
quick
in the
into
water.
the
They'd all
description. I'm
drown.
going to try to. Hang on. Okay, I'm going to stay on here. I don't care if it hits 10. I'm going to find one of his addiction sermons, and I'll see if I can link that into this description really quick.
Thank you, Don. Do you have any questions for me, Don?
For me.
I'll answer
Oh,
some
yeah.
questions.
Okay, hold on.
He's working on the link. We need one of them well-oiled machines like that other lady YouTuber you
I
have.
am a well-oiled machine.
What's that other lady's name that you talked to?
Nicole on Real Talk Recovery.
Yeah.
Yeah, go check out Nicole on Real Talk Recovery.
She's pretty cool. He just did an interview with her Saturday? Saturday?
Saturday. Shut that off.
That was you. That was your work phone.
Oh,
That's your number.
Yeah, he acts
Yeah.
surprised.
Go to work tomorrow with
I'm gonna find
What is
that
it?
his first one on addiction, and then I will.
I can't remember now.
Let's
Ooh,
see.
another thing you can do when you're anxious.
Oh, doing all
Pray.
things to God's glory. That's what we should go to work tomorrow morning thinking.
Yeah, and pray when you get up. Pray every morning when you wake up. Helps.
It does help.
Really? I think so.
Do you got another joke, think?
Yeah, I don't think
Oh, he's got to look it up. Oh, you found us at Real Talk? Right on. That's so cool.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, I love Nicole. She's awesome.
Do you listen to Sober James too? LT does a pretty good Sober James impression.
I'm only gonna do that if he comes on.
I hope he comes on one time because it's funny.
Oh yeah, the other day at work, my boss told me to have a good day, so I went home.
There you go, Uncle Tim. That's how we'll approach work tomorrow. My boss says that. I'm going home. Hello, Moto.
almost found it. I'm almost there. I'm going down the list. Seek first the kingdom, Christian essential introduction to Testament. Wonder if I can get a series. Here we go.
Link's got lots of jokes.
Here we go. Boom. Found it.
Oh yeah.
All right. Here you go, Ray.
Boom.
The link is in the description.
The link is right here.
And in the description. Another joke.
Yeah. So when you go to that, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 different parts to the series. And the first one starts on January 12th. So if you click that link, go to the bottom to January 12th, and then work your way up to February 9th was his last one. So it's a 5-part little series of addiction by Lucas Counterman. He's awesome. He's way awesome. I guess I shouldn't give too many details over the interweb.
Can't wait to hang out with you two. They're the Youngs. Our house is almost done. We can invite you over for dinner.
Yeah, our house is almost done.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe I can show you guys a picture. Let's see.
A man's washing his car with his son. Son asks, "Dad?"
Look at how nice our house is now.
Oh my gosh.
That grand piano.
Wow, it's so nice.
Wow.
We just got, what the heck is my arm? There it is. We just got this piano. So nice.
Got a foosball table over there.
We moved our window. Nope. Window.
Oh my gosh. I got another joke.
Window. Oh, this is hard.
I know.
All right, I got another joke, Tim.
Another joke for
Yeah.
Uncle Tim?
A man's washing his car with his son. Son asks, "Dad, can't you just use a sponge?"
With his son.
Ah.
But
Let's change the background again to Millie.
To Millie.
Let's hear. Okay, you want them to tell you a joke?
Oh dear, joke.
yeah, we'll adopt you, Ray Ray. Come on down.
Well, look at this one.
We got food.
Heck yeah, and you're sober. That's cool.
All the sobers are welcome.
Look at that zebra.
You kind of have to see the picture for that one.
Okay, I got to stay online just for a couple more seconds. So you guys, if you want to bounce off, that's fine. Obviously, it's your life. I can't control you.
Or can
But
we?
Xylan is supposed to be clicking on here in a second. He didn't know we were live,
Oh,
but he
shoot.
does now. And don't forget, every Tuesday at 9:00.
Ooh, you got any jokes?
Tell your friends.
Put them in the comments.
Yeah, a joke for Link keeps us talking.
One joke a day.
Joke a day.
Keeps
Doesn't
the
keep-
Good night, Don. I love you.
Good night,
Good night,
Don.
Don. Hug. A joke a day doesn't keep the link away. What?
Oh, he made that himself with his own bare hands out of pallet wood. And FYI, pallets
What?
are not that easy to take apart. She
What are
loves
you
the
looking at?
cross. Oh, Ray Ray loves the cross behind us. in
Alicia's
interview.
joined.
Oh,
Ooh.
thank you, Ray.
Welcome, Alicia.
Alicia.
Alicia. That's my
Alicia.
sister.
What does that
Oh,
mean?
yeah. What is this weird language you're speaking?
Alexa, what does mitosis mean?
Somatosis.
This
Somatosis.
might answer your question.
Oh my gosh.
Mitosis
Are you-
is usually defined as the usual method of cell division, characterized typically by the resolving of the chromatin of the nucleus into a thread-like form, which condenses into chromosomes, each of which...
Alexa,
cells
stop.
divide into a-
Sorry
Cindy?
for the nerd journey.
Alicia, are you trying to tell us a nerd joke?
Hey, Cindy. Glad you're here. We were just about to sign off. I'm glad we stayed on for a little while.
A joke. Joke?
Oh, it's
Keeps
a. Oh, it's she's telling us a joke. Somastosis.
Did we miss the joke? Is that the top?
Hi, Zylan.
Hi, Zai. Love you.
They're good. Slime fun.
Cindy, welcome. Just real quick, because this is just about to come over. Well, we'll talk for a little while. If you guys are hanging out, we'll
Creepy.
keep hanging out. What we do here is I'm the addict. She's not an addict. We're here to talk about addiction and what it's like to live with an addict from her perspective. And then, the kids will pop in and out.
What kind of an addict? I have to take TD.
Mitosis.
It's my prescription.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Thank
Okay,
you,
fine.
Cindy. And let anybody else that might be
We love you too, Zylan.
friends of an addict or lives with an addict who's not an addict, let them know about us.
You have any questions while we're still here?
Love you too, Zylan.
Love you, Zai. Happy birthday, Zylan. Shout out to Zylan.
Shout out to
Happy
Zylan.
birthday!
Oh, yeah.
Big
Zylan's
14.
birthday. Just turned 14 today. Happy birthday
Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Zylan. Happy birthday to you.
For all of you wondering what just happened, my son Zylan, who is in Washington, just joined the chat. He is Slime Fun in the comments, and today is his birthday, and that's what that was all about.
To a normal person. I don't think any of us are normal, Cindy. I don't know.
Addicted, married. So are you the addict, or are you married to the
Yeah,
addict?
she says I'm the addict
Oh.
married to a normal person.
Oh, so you relate to me.
Well,
birthday,
does your
happy
married person want to
Happy
come on?
birthday, happy birthday.
So Cindy, I was an addict. I drank for 5 hard years. So first I did meth, got clean, and then became an alcoholic. And I was drinking close to a 5th every night right before I had to detox. And so I checked myself into a detox. After I got out of detox, I went to an intense outpatient program where I spent 5 months. And the intense outpatient was from 5:30 to 9 o'clock every night from Monday through Friday. And then it was a mandatory AA or an NA meeting on the weekends, plus check-ins as well. And that's what got me sober. And she had to deal with the whole 5 years of me being a complete blackout drunk.
The heck?
If I buy a 5th, I drink a 5th.
That's creepy, huh? Yeah. So, Cindy,
Yep, you can say that, buddy.
questions?
Love you too.
Stop, Billy.
Look at his forehead.
come on this side. There we go. This is Millie.
Alan says, "Happy birthday, Zylan." I look over. Zylan's not here. Zylan's in YouTube land.
Hi, Silent and YouTube. Man.
So, Cindy, are you trying to quit? Oh, say, it's hard to get on the right road again. It's hard for the yes, it is. What we've noticed. Hey, what's up? Stay free. How's everybody doing? When a family has an addict in the family and decides to get clean, then it's a family recovery. It's not the addict who hits bottom. It's not the addict who has to recover. Like my sponsor tells me, the family often hits bottom before the addict does. And now that I'm clean, we have to recover. So during that IOP on Thursday nights at 6:30, we had family meetings to where the family would come and we'd all it was a group therapy family session. So there's multiple families for an hour in counseling, and recovery is a family journey, not just a singular person. Because in our active addiction, we do more harm than we realize. Because we don't see we have a problem, and then we don't really see how far the tentacles of our problem actually go.
I got a joke about hitting rock bottom.
Yeah, that's true. Stay free. They definitely suffer right along with us. There's no doubt about that.
I got a joke about hitting rock bottom.
Let's hear it.
How do you discipline your pet rock?
How?
You hit rock bottom.
That's funny. Oh, and also on that on the screen, you'll see that number right there. It's hard to point on the thing. You guys go ahead and shoot me a text throughout the day if you need some encouragement, or maybe like today I had trouble with my character defects. shoot me a text. Check on me because, I'm battling this addiction as well. And I've noticed since I got out of my IOP, so I was at my IOP from 5:30 to 9 o'clock every night. Now I only go once a week. So now I got the real world to deal with in the evenings on my own thoughts.
Uncle Billy.
And you know the saying that nature abhors a vacuum. I don't have that to rely on making it easy for me to stay in recovery mode. So now, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, I'm on my own. So that's why I got to hit other meetings and stuff. But check on me. I'm recovering too. And I need encouragement as well. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah. I
Zyglo.
noticed too, it helps if we're open and honest with each other as a family going through recovery all together.
Yeah.
Like LT, he's very, very, very honest with all of us. And I'd rather have it that way than to have hidden secrets. For sure.
It's nice to have a sober dad.
Dad, it does that all the time to me. When I used to have that bone, it always used to do that to me.
Yeah. So tonight, if you guys are just tuning in, we went through this thing right here. You can't even see it. It says, has your life been affected by someone else's drinking? So we asked a bunch of, I have a question. Did the accident with your sons make your addiction worse, or did it help you to turn it around? Did you by chance get to watch the video that I did on his accident? But it definitely made it worse. Oh, well, it's not in the replay. So if you go to, okay, she did. I'm not used to these comments yet. But yeah, that's kind of what my story is. I never wanted to say, like when I went to counseling, or the other guy I was counseling with before I stopped, he always asked me, what are you coping with? What are you coping with? And I was like, I never cope with anything. I want to drink because I like to get drunk. I loved getting trashed. But I did see a pattern, and after going through counseling and treatment, that my drinking skyrocketed after the accident. I was drinking the whole time. I was drinking the day of the accident. I only had a couple of sips right before it happened. And then I probably stopped maybe for a day or two, but then I picked right back up drinking while he was in the hospital. I was drinking every night. And then once we got home and he was out of the hospital is when my pints a night, because I could drink a pint easily. My pints turned into fifths, and the fifths started happening during the week. And then the fifths turned into half gallons, and half gallons turned into a gallon on the weekend. Saturdays and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I drank anywhere from 2 to 4 gallons of whiskey. And 4 gallons of whiskey was right when I pulled the plug and jumped into detox. It was terrifying. If you want to hear the whole story, I ran up the street and he was laying on his side, or my sister had just done CPR on him, and he was laying on his back and there's blood coming out of his mouth. And I flipped him on his side and I was letting the blood drain out of his mouth, and I'm yelling at him and he's grasping for air. Then a doctor showed up and just out of nowhere, it's all God's timing. It was crazy. But a doctor shows up, unzips his bag, starts doing suction in his mouth. And the time seemed like everything happened just real quick. So my sister was there, did CPR. I flip him over and I'm draining the blood out of his mouth. A doctor shows up, starts doing his suction thing. And it seemed like a couple seconds later, there was a police officer who said, here, let me take his head. Go call your family. I jump up. I got blood all over my arms, and I'm trying to get a hold of her. And he's laying on the ground as the ambulances. You can just hear from a distance. I remember this vividly. You can hear like sirens, like woo, 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 and they just keep getting louder, 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 and louder until there was tons of them around us, police cars and trucks, and they loaded him in an ambulance. We drove to McKD, and we get out of the ambulance, and boom, the doors open. We walk in, and there's just 25 doctors and nurses ready, and I was just like, oh my gosh, it's this bad. I didn't realize how bad it was. But so we were there for maybe 5 minutes, which seemed like 5 minutes, might have been longer, and then they hauled us out to the helicopter. We got in the helicopter. We flew to Primary Children's in Salt Lake, and then he was there for 60 days. And the whole accident, they came down the hill in this UTV. It flipped. There was 7 kids in it. my three oldest boys, my three boys, the two neighbor kids, and
Our cousins.
Two guys.
her,
my
our
two
nephews were in it. So when I got to the scene, there was a kid knocked out. There was one who had his head gashed open. Her nephew, he was to my right, and his leg was broken and his bone was sticking out. And then the other kids were kind of crawling in the grass, just moaning and just, and then I go over and Link's laying in that. If you watch that video, you'll see a picture of him. His face is blurred out, but that's where I found him laying, where the machine had rolled, landed on his head, and then hopped off his head, and he was laying there. So that was the story of his accident. And yeah, my drinking picked way up after that. I definitely had to go. I didn't realize how much it had affected me until I went to counseling. And some of the other people in our group were like, you need to process this with Rick, who's our counselor. And amen, Cindy.
Yeah, lots of love in this house for sure.
Yes.
Love does heal all things.
Hey, I got a quote.
We had a lot of dancing parties in the hospital. That's for sure.
When so the doctor that was there miraculously and did all the suction on him, I took Link after like four months. He'd been in, so he was in 2 months in primaries, and then a couple months later I took him to go meet the doctor and say thank you and stuff. The doctor wasn't excited enough. He just looked at me and I can't wrap my medical mind around how he's alive. He's a total miracle. The doctors at one weekend told us to pull the plug. They're like, you guys need to, if we're going to fix the bones in his face, we have to put a trach in a feeding tube. And if we put a trach in a feeding tube into this vegetable of a body, you're going to have to take that home with you. So you might want to think about pulling the plug this weekend. And that was probably the roughest weekend for me.
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, we prayed all weekend that weekend for a sign of like, what do we do? What do we do? And they were finally able to do a MRI. He was like able to lay down long enough without his brain swelling too much to do an MRI. And the neurosurgeon sat me down and was like, you should give this kid a chance because it's not as bad as we were thinking. And we think that he may pull through. And that was like the sign we needed. So it was awesome. That neurosurgeon, he's an amazing doctor.
Yeah, we're strong because we're just, I wouldn't say we're strong, but a lot of people tell me, man, I couldn't go through that. But I don't know, you just go through it. It's weird. You definitely grow. Your outlook on life is a lot different. My outlook on life, like at work, why I'm having such a tough time with work lately is, what is true happiness? Is it getting that next dollar raise so I can buy that next model of truck and have that next higher payment that keeps me working at that job? When I could downsize everything, drive a 92 Honda and probably be a lot happier.
Yeah.
Go ahead and be inspirational, Linky.
It takes nothing to join a crowd. It takes everything to stand alone. Like and subscribe.
Love him.
Nice one.
Yeah, you don't realize how strong you are till you have to go through something. And then you're like, I'm stronger than I thought. But I don't know. It took a lot of prayer for sure.
Definitely some hard nights of crying.
There was
Yelling. I remember being broken and screaming at God. I was pissed. Screw you.
yeah.
He punched
That
the plug
was-
and broke his knuckle that day.
Yeah,
Really
broken.
when I realized that, we only have our kids, they're a gift. We only get them for as long as we get them, and just enjoy
Yeah.
the time you have with the people you have.
I like what Stay Free said. He says the finest steel goes to the hottest forge. So true.
Wow. That reminds me of Forge of Fire.
Cindy says, you really are strong. We are stronger than we realize. By talking about it and your feelings, you will all heal. I'm subscribed. Oh, thank you, Cindy. Yeah, join us in recovery, because one of the reasons I'm doing these videos and we're doing this on Tuesdays is to help others who have the similar situations. Maybe they've had a tragedy, maybe they've had addiction, and maybe they've had to live with addiction. We're here to help them. But at the same time, I'm in recovery. I need help. And by reading your comments, by having you guys watch the videos, keeps my mind on recovery to produce things about recovery. Because like I always say, we recover better together.
Dad, stay strong and work your program.
Yeah.
And at the same time, after I was recovering from my accident, she got to alopecia.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Millie's hair fell out.
Yeah. So during that whole time in the hospital, and it started a little bit before the accident, but during the time in the hospital, she ends up with alopecia and all of her hair fell out. She went completely bald. We'll have to show some pictures of that one day, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have some of it.
Yep.
Do you? Did you put makeup
We
on?
weren't sure if she was going to get her hair back or not.
Yeah, she had like one tiny patch right here.
Yeah, like a little tiny patch.
And it grew bigger and bigger.
And then I got a wig that I always put on before school.
One addict helping another. That's right.
But then I
Alopecia,
got-
it's just
It's
your-
an autoimmune disease where
Yeah.
your immune system attacks your hair follicles. She got a huge high fever. And then shortly after that, her hair just.
yeah, you start pulling out. Weirdest thing.
Got
Let's
lost.
see if I can
She never
find
lost her eyebrows or nothing. Just her hair.
I like when I was like really sick with my high fever. Like I couldn't talk. It was hard to talk. Like when I like tried to talk or something, like
Stress.
one piece of the word
Yeah.
would stop.
Stress could have been. I think the stress is what made it happen faster, for sure.
I love that, right?
Let me see if I can find a picture of her real quick, and I'll throw it up on the.
Wait, let's see if I
Can I just go straight to pictures? Why can't I go straight to pictures?
don't know.
Right there, photos.
Where?
Left hand side.
Jeez,
Like,
is that
oh,
right
sorry.
there.
Jeez, Link.
You saw these too?
There's one of her right there at the bottom.
Oh, right here.
Yeah.
Oh, dang it. Yeah, I'm gonna throw up a photo of her when she was bald. Oh, there's a good one. See if I can save this
It's
picture real quick.
loading. It's like halfway showing. So.
Talk.
Oh yeah, that's when we saw that dog.
Copy.
I miss
Yeah.
those shoes.
It's a dreamer.
Sorry about it.
Okay, watch this little trick I'm gonna show you guys. We're gonna go to green screen. Where did it go? I'm gonna add it right here real quick.
I was like trying to do something, but I don't remember.
I don't remember what you were trying to do either.
Me neither.
Oops.
Wait. Uh-huh. It's still not there.
Love technology.
Me too.
Well, let me add another picture. I'll have it up next time. Yeah, she's got beautiful hair now. It's nice and curly.
Yep.
Yeah.
And she starts growing her hair back, and my hair starts thinning.
Yeah, it was. Thanks for coming back. We'll be here every Tuesday at 9:00. And the reason we chose 9:00 on Tuesdays is now that I'm out of that intense outpatient program, on Tuesdays they call it aftercare, and we go and do a group therapy just to make sure we're staying, working our programs. If we got anything we need to talk about, we talk about it. She goes, and then we come from there to here, set up our live feed, and we're in that, that community. What do they call that? The group consciousness of recovery, and try to bring that
the mothership.
that feeling. That feeling when an AA meeting's just going good, and there's that group consciousness, and you leave there, and recovery is just coming out of every pore. Thank you, Stay Free, and thank you, Cindy.
Thank you.
But okay, we got to get up at 3:45 in the morning to go to our real jobs. I'm going to try to be grateful. I'm going to work on my character defects. I'm not going to be impatient. I'm going to stay in recovery. 2 times a day, I'm going to stop. I'm going to do an inventory. I'm going to do a step. I did a step 10 today. I was wrong, and I promptly admitted it. And then I apologized. I had to apologize.
Oh. Penny says there's a picture of Millie bald in the hospital and
Oh, and that trauma video?
video.
Oh, yeah. There's one where she's kind of pushing the wheelchair and her hair's We hadn't shaved it yet when they're on the roof of the hospital.
Yeah.
We hadn't shaved it yet. It's just
Frosted
got
glasses.
it looks like my hair right now. Just
Those awesome glasses. Oh, that picture.
awesome. Thank you, Stay Free. You're welcome. Like I said, we recover better together. This is inspirational for us, and hopefully it is for you guys as well. But like I said, we got to get up at 3:45. We're going to sign off, and I will be producing more videos for the weekends, and sometimes they're skits. I'm going to interview some people as well who have an experience with addiction. I'm going to throw their stories up on my page. I'm going to do some collaborations, and then every Tuesday you'll see us here at 9:00 as a family to be able to interact and chit chat and have a great time. So with that, we're going to sign off, and remember, we recover better together. Love you guys. Good
Love
night.
you.
Love you.